That friend who's always busy or suddenly cancels plans, they might not be flaky. They might be fighting a battle you can't see, right in front of your eyes. Loneliness is one of the most painful human experiences, and it's also one of the most invisible. We have this idea of what a lonely person looks like, someone sitting alone, isolated, obviously sad. But the truth is, loneliness wears 1,000 different masks. It can be the life of the party, the workaholic who never stops, or the friend who always insists, "I'm fine." Because it's so hidden, we often miss the signs in the people we care about most. In this video, we are going to teach you how to see past the masks. We'll show you the subtle, secret signs of loneliness, and more importantly, give you a practical guide on how to offer the kind of support that actually helps. The problem: a wolf in sheep's clothing. The biggest challenge in helping someone who is lonely is that you often don't even know they're lonely. No one walks around with a sign that says, "I feel disconnected and alone." In fact, people who are lonely are often experts at hiding it. Why? Because there's a deep sense of shame that comes with it. Admitting you're lonely can feel like admitting you've failed at a fundamental part of being human. It feels like saying, "No one wants me." So people put on a brave face. They build walls. They create elaborate disguises to get through the day. This creates a huge problem for those of us who want to help. We're looking for the obvious, but loneliness lives in the subtle. It lives in the small changes in behavior, the slight shift in tone, the things left unsaid. It can be the friend who is constantly surrounded by people but never seems to make a real connection. It can be the family member who is always cheerful and cracking jokes, using humor as a shield to keep people from getting too close. We don't spot it because we're looking at the surface, and loneliness is a creature of the deep. To really see it, you have to learn to look beneath the surface, to read between the lines of "I'm fine."
The hidden signs. Learning to read the language of loneliness. If you want to spot loneliness, you have to stop looking for the obvious and start paying attention to the patterns. Here's some of the most common, but often missed, signs that someone you love might be feeling deeply alone. 1. The social chameleon, the flake, and the ghost. One of the first places loneliness shows up is in someone's social habits, but it can go in two opposite directions. The flake. Think about your friend who used to be your go-to person for plans. They were always up for anything, but lately they've started canceling a lot. They have last-minute excuses that seem a bit flimsy. A headache, feeling tired, a work thing that suddenly came up. It's easy to take this personally, to think they don't value your friendship anymore. But here's what might really be going on. For someone in the grip of deep loneliness, the energy it takes to socialize can feel like climbing Mount Everest. The thought of putting on a happy face, making small talk, and being on is completely overwhelming. So they cancel. It's not because they don't want to see you, it's because they feel they don't have the emotional resources to do it. The social media ghost or maniac. Pay attention to their social media behavior. Have they gone completely silent? Someone who used to post regularly and now hasn't updated in weeks might be retreating from the world, feeling like they have nothing positive to share. Or it could be the complete opposite. Are they suddenly posting non-stop? A constant stream of photos, updates, and shares can be a sign of someone screaming into the void. They are trying to prove to the world and to themselves that they have a life, that they are connected, that they exist. It's an attempt to fill the emptiness with likes and comments, which, as we know, is like trying to quench a thirst with salt water.
2. The armor of busyness. How are you? Oh, so busy, work is crazy. We all say this sometimes, but for a lonely person, busy can be a full-time suit of armor. The workaholic. They are the first to arrive at the office and the last to leave. They are always taking on new projects, always checking their email. Their calendar is packed from morning to night. This isn't always about ambition. Sometimes it's about avoidance. A packed schedule means you don't have to face a quiet evening or an empty weekend.
Work provides a sense of purpose and a distraction from the gnawing feeling of emptiness. If you're always busy, you never have to be alone with your own thoughts.
3. The conversational guard dog. Loneliness also changes the way people talk. You just have to listen closely. The past tense specialist. When you talk to them, do they constantly bring up the good old days? Do they talk a lot about past friendships, past adventures, past versions of themselves? This can be a sign that their present feels empty of connection and meaning, so they retreat to a time when they felt they belonged. The cynic and the self-deprecator. Have they become incredibly negative? Do they make comments like, "People always let you down," or "There's no point in trying"? This cynicism is often a protective shell built from past hurts and a fear of being vulnerable again. It's easier to expect the worst than to get your hopes up and be disappointed. Similarly, listen for constant self-deprecating humor. A little is normal, but if every other sentence is them putting themselves down, it can be a sign of deep-seated feelings of worthlessness, which is a core component of loneliness. The wrong way to help. Good intentions, bad results. So, you've spotted some signs. Your helper instincts kick in. You want to fix it. This is where most of us, with the best intentions in the world, make things worse. We see a problem and we want to offer a solution. But loneliness isn't a simple problem you can solve with a 5-point plan. Here are some of the most common mistakes we make. Offering cliché advice. You should just get out more. Have you tried joining a club? You just need to be more positive. This kind of advice, while well-meaning, is incredibly invalidating. It's like telling someone with social anxiety to just be more confident. It dismisses the very real emotional and psychological barriers they are facing. It implies their loneliness is their own fault and that the solution is simple, which can make them feel even more ashamed and misunderstood.
Forcing them into social situations. You think, my friend is lonely, so I'll drag them to a big party. Being around people will cheer them up. This can be the absolute worst thing you can do. For someone feeling disconnected, being in a crowd can be the loneliest place on earth. It just highlights their feeling of being on the outside looking in. It forces them to perform, to put on that mask, which is utterly exhausting.
Taking it personally. When they cancel plans or don't seem engaged, it's easy to get your feelings hurt. I'm trying to help and they're pushing me away, but their withdrawal is not about you. It's about their own internal struggle. Taking it personally can cause you to pull away, which only reinforces their belief that they are alone and that no one truly cares. The climax, the power of showing up and shutting up. So if you can't fix it with advice and you can't fix it by dragging them out, what on earth are you supposed to do? The answer is both incredibly simple and incredibly difficult. The most powerful thing you can do for a lonely person is to shift your goal from fixing them to simply being with them. Imagine this. Your friend has been distant. They've canceled on you twice. You're worried. Instead of calling with a plan, you text them, "Hey, I'm thinking of you. I'm going to be near your place tomorrow around 7. I'm going to drop off some soup. I don't have to come in, just wanted to give it to you." And you do it. You show up. Maybe they invite you in, maybe they don't. Maybe you stand on the doorstep for 2 minutes and talk about the weather, but you showed up. Then, a few days later, you text, "Hey, watching this stupid movie on Netflix. Want to watch it at the same time from our own couches and text about how dumb it is?" You're not asking them to perform. You're not asking them to go out. You're just sharing a moment. You're just being present. And then, one day, maybe they call you, and maybe they just cry, and you don't say anything. You just listen. That is the climax. The turning point isn't a grand gesture. It's a small, consistent pattern of showing up without demanding anything in return. It's the moment the lonely person realizes that someone is willing to sit with them in their darkness without trying to flick on all the lights. That quiet, unconditional presence is the thing that makes them feel safe enough to finally open the door, even just a crack. It's the silent message that says, "You are not a problem to be solved. You are a person to be cared for, and I am here." The right way to help, a practical guide to being a lifeline. Okay, let's break this down into concrete, actionable steps. Step 1. Start with a gentle, non-accusatory observation. You can't just barge in and say, "You seem lonely." That will put them on the defensive immediately. Instead, use I statements and express your own feelings. Try saying, "Hey, I've noticed you seem a bit withdrawn lately, and I just wanted to check in. How are things, really?" Or, "I miss seeing you. Is everything okay? No pressure to talk, but I want you to know I'm thinking of you." This opens the door without forcing them to walk through it. It's an invitation, not an interrogation. Step 2. Master the art of listening to understand, not to reply. If they do open up, your only job is to listen. This is harder than it sounds. We're wired to offer solutions. Resist that urge. Don't say, "You know what you should do." Instead, ask open-ended questions. What does that feel like? That sounds incredibly tough. How are you managing? Validate their feelings. Simply reflecting their feelings back to them is incredibly powerful. It sounds like you feel completely invisible right now. It makes sense that you feel that way. Validation says, "You're not crazy for feeling this. Your pain is real." Step 3. Offer specific, low-pressure, easy-to-accept invitations. Vague offers like, "Let's hang out sometime," put the burden on them to plan. Be specific and make it easy to say yes or no. Instead of, "We should get together soon," try, "I'm going for a walk at the park on Saturday at 10 a.m. Want to join?" This is concrete. It has a time and a place. Even better, offer things that require very little social energy, like, "I'm making a lasagna this weekend. I'm making extra. Can I drop some by for you?" This is an act of care that asks for nothing in return. Step 4. Be consistent and patient. Loneliness is not a cold that can be cured in a weekend. It's often a long-term condition rooted in complex issues. One nice conversation won't fix it. Consistency is everything. A single text is nice. A text every week or so that just says "thinking of you" is a lifeline. It builds a pattern of care. It proves that you're not just going to disappear. Be patient. They might not respond right away. They might still cancel plans. Don't give up. Continue to offer that gentle, low-pressure support. You are planting seeds. It may take a long time for them to grow, but your consistent care is the water and sunlight they need. In a world that can feel incredibly disconnected, being the person who can spot loneliness and offer real comfort is a superpower. It's about learning to look past the cheerful masks and the busy schedules. It's about understanding that help doesn't always mean fixing. More often, it means simply being present. By trading easy advice for empathetic listening and grand gestures for small, consistent acts of care, you can become a safe harbor for someone lost in a storm. You can be the person who reminds them that they are not invisible, that they are not a burden, and that they are not truly alone. If you want to learn more about how to be a better friend and build stronger connections, subscribe to RainWish and give this video a like.